Welcome to the FBJ Studios at the Sam Hinkie Pavilion. It is Saturday, December 21st, 2013. We got a lot of stuff to go over today, so enjoy some Philadelphia music for a few seconds. And now we're done. All right, so let's jump into the show for this afternoon. Once again, welcome to the Philadelphia Studios here at Sam Hinkie Pavilion. The University of Hinkie Pavilion. Thank you. Had to Hinkie for your motivation. Let's get into some housekeeping first. This will be the last show of the week, because I guess we'll go backwards. That's whatever. There's no show tomorrow on Sunday. There's just because it's such a huge NFL day. Sunday is traditionally before the end of before the end of the regular season. It's usually a light NBA day and a heavy NFL day, so we're just gonna bypass Sunday. We'll review Sunday night on Monday, and we're gonna have to review Saturday night on Monday as well. I guess that's still up in the air a little bit. If we get to a Saturday night recap, we'll tweet it. We'll tweet the preview, and then we'll tweet the video like we have been doing. Because obviously you guys want to know what the hell is going on with my team on Saturday night and fantasy performers in general. We'll see. That's up in the air. I thought about this morning. I thought about cutting out the Sunday show, but we'll see. The Birds got flexed out to Birds Eagles. This is NFL talk real quick. They got flexed out to Sunday night, so that also presents a little bit of a quandary for us Philadelphia Eagles fans who enjoy their pigskin. And this is the second to last game of the regular season for the Birds. So, like I said, we might just bypass tomorrow's show altogether and give you a mega show on Monday to recap the weekend's games, as well as Sunday night, and give you a breakdown of my league as well as what's going on for the upcoming week. Of course, as you know, it will be Christmas this Wednesday, and there's a slew of games. Some headliners, some god-awful ones now based on some injuries, and we'll get into that a little bit later in this first segment. You might notice that it's backwards. So this is off of a webcam on a laptop. We had been doing camera work from the phone, so I know some people are wondering, like, why wasn't it landscape? And then when it is big, he is backwards. So we're still in the process of trying to figure out how to get the most efficient video. With that being stated, it's backwards, and we don't have a camera woman today. Hat tip shout out to Amber Jones, co-executive producer, camera woman. She is not present today, and we might not have her for about a good week or so. We might not have her for a week. So you might have to get used to the backwards presentation. I know it's a little off kilter, but whatever, we're going to keep pushing these out and keep going and pushing and going and going and pushing until we can get the people what they want. Hashtag hat tip to my man Jalen Rose. Give the people what they want. Give the people what they need. Okay. Also, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so you'll notice me saying a lot that talking about how crazy things are and how convoluted things are, and you have to dig beneath the surface because the numbers lie. Everybody lies. I'm not going to go into a philosophical dictation here. We haven't even talked any basketball yet. Yay, housekeeping. So yeah, I mean, you'll notice some wacky theories on my point, and that's just what makes the show what it is. We try to give you a different perspective. It's some underground type stuff, and hopefully you enjoy it. So with that being said, let's get into last night, because last night was crazy. The total score right now is 5-17 for moi. Hashtag MSU James. I'm still trying to figure out a good team name. We might have a new one for you tomorrow, if we're on. So, half of your fantasy team is your name and your photo. I'll, if you remember from the current photo of my team is not this past finals, but the year before with Durant, Westbrook, and Harden interlocking. Sad, mad that they were going to lose in their first finals appearance. Young kids, and then what happened? Harden got traded to Houston, and the rest is history. So I guess that's like, if that was last year, it would have been a more applicable team name, but I had LeBron last year, so. And actually, LeBron is actually not the top fantasy player in the league. It's actually Kevin Love, and then Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Paul George fall somewhere after that. I think they're 3 and 4, if I'm not mistaken. We'll check into that. That's, of course, per ESPN Fantasy Scoring, where we do our demolition work in the league. 517 to 423 is the score right now. I'm up 96 points. Hooray. Got a big night last night from Dirk and Jonas. I love Jonas. I've had a love affair with him. Jonas Valanciunas, the center from the Toronto Raptors. Hashtag hat tip to the starters. Give me some Raptor news. So here comes the Raptor news right now. Jonas was amazing last night. Had a double-double, 18 points, 13 boards. Of course, as you know, double-double gives you +4 in fantasy. Jonas is on fire right now. If he is still available in your league, it's roughly owned by 82.8% of owners in ESPN Fantasy. So if he's available, go get him, because here's what he's done over his last 5 games. 13.8 points, 93% from the line, 55% from the floor, 9.4 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks. Jonas, go get him. I picked him up in a trade, but go get him if he's available. Of course, Dirk is Dirk. Dirk with 23 fantasy points. Jonas with 29 fantasy points. Dirk was 10 of 22 from the floor, roughly under 50% for the night. 9 rebounds, 5 dimes. Great Dirk performance, even though Toronto won an OT at Dallas. Shout out to the Raps. Great job, boys. So, Dirk at Jonas was awesome. With 2 of my favorite bigs. I love Lithuanian players. I love Dirk. Lithuanian basketball is check out some Lithuanian basketball if you get a chance. I always try to watch Eurobasket, and if there's a European competition over summer or just whatever, get your hands on some European basketball. Check it out because it's very entertaining. So that's it with the board. We're not going to do a board for part 2. It's just a lot going on. So no board for part 2 today. Andre Drummond and DeMarcus Cousins, 2 very talented young big men who I played against last night, had a combined 57 fantasy points for MCW, anti-tank missile. However, those were the only 2 players that he had that scored in double figures. So every player in my lineup was in double figures. I guess we forgot to go over the score from last night, which was 126. Come on. And 83 points for my opponent. So he had a fairly disappointing night. We were even in the lineup as well. So that was that added to my ecstaticness. I might not seem too ecstatic right now, but last night was a lot of fun watching that game and following the scores and keeping track of everything that was going on. Really weird day today. As we're recording right now, it's roughly 12:28 Eastern Standard. The Knicks tipped off against the Memphis Grizzlies at noon today. So in part 2, we'll give you an update of I have Iman Shumpert starting at the 2 guard for me today, the 2 guard position. So we'll see. We'll give you a live update on Shump's performance thus far. That'll come in part 2, which will be somewhere around the next 10, whatever. When they're posted, and we'll give you the update of Shump and how Shump's doing. Some miscellaneous news and notes from the league. We told you we're going to try to keep you up to date on that. Everybody knows about the Kobe injury. He's out for the next 6 weeks with a bum knee. He will be back. I don't recommend riding him or acquiring him if you can flip him. When he comes back, you can get some sort of value for him. If you are a Kobe Bean Bryant owner, awesome, go for it. I am not confident in his ability to remain healthy for the rest of the season. He's pushing really hard to prove that he deserved the 2-year extension that he got. And he's got a lot of pride. He is, the last of a previous, he, KG, Duncan, Dirk is in that class as well. The last of that class from the early 2000s, late 90s, post-Jordan. Where are we going to go with this league? It's gotten too hood. It's gotten too thuggish. What's happening here? There's too many me-first players. But, Kobe, Kobe and Shaq, that was great. Kobe and Shaq through the 2000s out in LA. And, of course, we all know what happened with Shaq, but Kobe's remained, regardless of the trade requests and yada yada. So, at this point, Kobe is not nearly the player that he is. If I come across anybody who still says that Kobe's the best player in the NBA, you're not allowed to watch this videocast. You are not allowed to watch NBA games until you get caught up with the times. Just saying. It's beyond common sense. Like who you like, but recognize greatness. King, KD, Paul George, in that order. Kevin Love, Chris Paul. That's your top 5 in the NBA right now. Okay, one more time. It's not fantasy. This is top 5 players, my personal top 5 in the league. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Paul George, Kevin Love, Chris Paul. Okay? You know where those guys play. You know what they do for their teams. They're all consistently MVP candidates. And Paul George, at some point within the next 2-3 years, LeBron might slip. And you might see all Love, George, and KD, part of that next generation after LeBron, move up. If you notice, Chris Paul, 5 at that list. Best point guard in the league. Don't give me anything about Russell Westbrook or Steph Curry or anything like that. Excuse me. Still the purest point guard in the league. So, there goes my top 5. You didn't really need to know about that, but I just wanted to get the point across that Kobe is he's not top 20 even at this point. Sorry. Go ahead. Waiting for the blast if there are any. I'll fight that to the death. All right. So with Kobe being out, go grab Wesley Johnson. We talked about him all week. Nick Young, go grab him. Wesley is up to 9.1 ownership across ESPN fantasy leagues. Nick Young and Jody Meeks have been rotating in and out of different members' fantasy lineups in my league throughout the year. So we have a deep league. We have 14 teams. So that's fairly deep in terms of lineups. I mean, you really have to. It's made it very challenging. So the only way in this case to improve your team is not through the waiver wire. It is. I mean, if you miss out on guys or you're not waiting on guys, don't get them at the right time, you have to flip through trades, and that's what we've done all week. Through one big trade, one trade got vetoed, and I used up all of my matchup acquisitions for the week. We have 7, so that's 1 per day. Sometimes you can use 2, but remember about that can't cut list that we spoke of earlier this week. That's huge. So some sad news. Brook Lopez broke his foot again. It's about the 4th time he's done it in the last 5 seasons. Without Brooke Lopez in the lineup. He's out for the year. I mean, he is their second most important player next to Darren Williams, and we all know about the struggles Darren still has. And then Paul Pierce played 44 minutes last night against the Sixers. Joe Johnson didn't even play. So, yikes. I mean, they're in a world of trouble. They're basically now forced into playing KG and Pierce, the two guys that they didn't want to ride heavy all year. Now they're going to have to ride them. Apparently, the Nets went with an 8-man rotation last night as well, so that was very interesting. So with that being said, go get Andre Blatch, Chris Humphries, Mirza Teletovic, my guy. Love Mirza. If we can get him back next week, that would be great for the team. And KG, if he's available in your league. He hasn't had the most productive season, but with Lopez's minutes being redistributed amongst possibly 4 or 5 big men on that team, why not take a look at one of those guys? So if they're available, I'm a huge Mirza Teletovic fan. I have been for the last 2 years. Been waiting for him to get minutes on the Nets team, and this might be the year that he finally does get some minutes. Last night, at the Sixers, who don't defend a 3 at all. Shout out to Evan Turner for the game winner in OT. Is that OT? Shout out to ET for the game winner. And last night, here's what Mirza did. He was 18 fantasy points, 6 of 11 from deep. That's huge. So he spreads the floor and gives the Nets an element that they really haven't had before. They've never really had a stretch 4 that can do the things that Mirza can do. He's a great distributor, moves the ball, makes quick decisions, doesn't bang down low, but that's not his game. He stretches the floor. He provides spacing, and an otherwise cloggy lineup. So I mean, if you think about it, if you had Darren or Livingston at the 1, Allen Anderson at the 2, Pierce, Mirza at the 4, and any combination of KG, Blatch, and Chris Humphries at the 5, I mean, you can really do some interesting things. You can even post up Pierce in the block. You could go on forever. So that'll do it for part 1. We'll be right back, and we'll get into Saturday night preview, which is it's the last big night of the week. We'll be right back.